In this video, I'd like to show you how I teach eighth notes. So again, you have to always go back to the fundamentals. Number one, pulse is in our toe. Toe tap equals pulse. The mouth represents the meter, or how we chop up the increments of time, and the hands show the rhythm. Kids always think that the rhythm is the most important part, and it's not. It is by far the least important part. The meter is far more important, and the pulse is the most important. And almost everybody, when I start getting into this system and talking about it and saying, hey, maybe you could try this, then they're like, oh, I already do that, I'm good to go. Just please watch the videos, the teaching videos and the clapping and counting videos, and see how it is different, because when I start, that conversation gets a little longer, then people start to go, oh, so it is different. It's very different, in fact, from how most people teach. So, just dig into it and try to figure out how it's a little different than what you do. So the eighth note is difficult for some students because it's the first time we have divided each pulse into smaller parts. And this forces their hands and feet to kind of come out of sync. Before it was like tap your foot equals a clap, or tap your foot, clap, chop, everything was going together. But at this point, we're dividing the two and making them do two different things. So the students say it's kind of like, rubbing your head and patting your stomach, or patting your head and rubbing your stomach, however you're supposed to do that. But I find that if you can get students to focus on their toe and stop looking at the music, then they can kind of figure out this skill in isolation. All right, now it's time to turn your metronome on at 66. Notice that mine has the eighth note subdivision on. That really helps. And what you want to do is tell them, now we're going to stop saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and instead right now we're going to say down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then I tell them, okay, you've got a stick and it's attached to your wrist and your toe. And I want you to get that stick to pull your toe up. So get them just matching the hand and the wrist, and then try to get it in time with a metronome. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Get both hands going. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So every time their toe moves down, the hand has to go down with it. And every time the hand goes up, the toe has to move with it. Have them practice these two ideas together while saying down, up. After that's going pretty well, you got to stop and then model you saying down, up, and clapping eighth notes like this. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And I'll show you with the foot. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then after they're like, okay, we get it. Then you do one measure and have them do one measure back to you. Tell them how they did. Do it again. You do one measure, they do one measure back. So a lot of kids, when you get to this point, let me turn that metronome on. When you get to this point, a lot of kids start to try to match their hand with the foot, like this. And they just tap their toe twice as fast. So you want to keep telling those kids, stare at your foot. See if it's going down, up, down, up. Make your foot do what your mouth is telling it to do. And for kids who just don't get that, I will actually go around and get low on the ground and grab their foot and say, you handle the hands, I'll handle the foot. And sometimes even with that, they still can't get it. So you just want to keep at it, keep helping them do it, keep having them look at their toe. Don't do any music at this point. Have them instead really just be focused on getting this toe thing matched together with this down up thing and the clapping thing. It's a lot for kids to put together, because their mouth's doing one thing, their foot's doing something else, their hands are doing something else. My first chair players love getting to help their lower chair players move the foot. So use your smartest students. So really make sure that you marinate in this time, and it really gets sunk in for almost everybody. You can't wait for everybody, but until like just the last 2 or 3 of your kids are not getting it. Hopefully they'll get it later. But don't move on to this stage until most of the slowest students have gained the physical skill of 1 toe tap to 2 claps. Because as simple as it is for you and I, for them, sometimes it's just absolutely mind-blowing to do 2 different things at the same time. After that, I'll say, hey guys, turn to number 24 in your book, and then I'm going to model it for you guys. And I use the down up first. So I'm just going to do the first 4 measures for you, okay? Down, up, 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 down, up. Then after you do that, make sure that they get a few chances to do that. Honestly, I'll probably do that for 2, maybe 3 days before I ever even move on to saying 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in. And at that point, then hopefully it's just given those kids a little bit more time to get their foot matched up. And when I first started doing it, I just did straight horizontal claps like this. But a lot of my students kind of came up with this method on their own, where they're clapping down when their foot goes down, and then they clap up when their foot goes up, and it seems to help a lot of the students. So I recommend just teach it that way from the beginning, and go down, up, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then every time, remember, metronome on, posture, tap your toe, count out loud, clap the rhythms, 2 exercises 2 times each, model new exercises while they use their gun, use the lines and the dots, the standard, below, medium, above, keep the energy level high, and keep the clapping periods short so that it's both intense and fun.